This is just catching up over on PayPal. Dude, Ellen, thank you so much for the $50 donation on PayPal. Let's get 500 Ellen W's down below in that chat. That is ELLEN. Ellen, you are awesome. Awesome. Ellen with a $50 says, I'll send you $50 for everybody that you convert today. Ellen, you'll probably end up getting to keep your money. I appreciate you for the $50. Unfortunately, the MAGA that are left are really bottom of the barrel and really hard to change their minds in real time. But thank you for the $50. As well as Carolyn, thank you for the $50 as well, who says to celebrate your 1 year anniversary. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Thank you so much, everybody, so much for all the love, the outpour of love. I'm just so grateful for you guys. Show some love to Ellen and Carolyn down below in that chat. Same thing to you, Cammy. Thank you for the $20, who says congratulations on the 1 year of the Dean Withers show. I've been watching since you lived with your brother, and fuck that guy, he needs to be charged. Thank you so much for the $20, Cammy. And yes, the Spit for Brains rascal will be charged. Crystal and Caitlin, thank you both for the $5. Chandler, thank you for the $5. C, thank you for the $10. Hope that you're well as well. And then Cody, thank you for the $10, who says, Dean, you were missed. Well, I am back, Cody, and congratulations on your marriage. With that, we're all ready to go. Josh, how the hell do you still support the worst president of your life, Mr. Trump?
I would say the worst president of my life.
Well, I mean, I believe that he's very unique from other presidents that we've had in a very terrible sense. The first sense is going to be his character. He is an absolute abysmal character. I mean, he's admitted to sexually exploiting the naked bodies of women and girls. The court determined that he raped a woman on top of cheating on all 3 of his wives and telling over 30,000 confirmed lies in his first term. But he is also very violent, and he doesn't like it when he gets his way. He's called for the celebration of the death of Democrats. He's called for the execution of his political opponents. And he just kind of hates anybody that gets in his way of this warpath on our democracy, on our rule of law, on our Constitution, which, of course, is another really big reason why I hate him, to do with his attack and assault on 7 of our 27 amendments, 2 of our articles. And then we start getting into, his policy with the whole taking healthcare away from low-income Americans, refusing to pay out food stamps for 16 million starving American children, and about a billion other things, too. He sucks.
For sure. Real quick, I think I constantly hear you talking about the Howard Stern show and somehow how that relates into Miss Teen USA. I would like you to elaborate on that because that's not what's stated on the Howard Stern show. So I'm wondering why you think that.
Yes, so when he's talking to Howard Stern, you're right. He never explicitly states Miss Teen USA. He never explicitly states any beauty pageant, actually.
Yeah, he does say women, though.
In this clip, we'll get around to that. In this clip, he just generally states that he would barge into the dressing rooms of the women at his beauty pageants. And I take this to be an admission of guilt to him barging in on the women at Miss USA, then, of course, the minors, the teen girls at Miss Teen USA, because we have a corroboration of victim testimony from the teens and from the women, all just repeating the same story, that he'd barge in on them and look at them while they're naked, including like Victoria Hughes or Mariah Bellato from
but there's plenty of people that have also said that he didn't do it, right?
And we would expect, by the way, not plenty.
Like Carrie Prejean, Miss California USA of 2009.
Yeah, we would expect a handful of women and a handful of girls to have the story that this never happened to them, because
So then why are we supposed to believe the ones that say that it happened to them who came out in 2016? Why didn't they come out in 2006 or 2007, 2009, 2008, 2000?
We believe them both.
I mean,
so we believe the women who say.
Why do we believe?
Joshua, let me clarify.
Yeah.
We believe the women who came out and said that this happened to them, and we believe the women who came out and said that this didn't happen to them. Because, in fact, that's what we would expect, given that it's true that he did this. Okay? We're not going to, I'm not going to pause it. Joshua, I'm almost done speaking.
How would you know it's true, though?
Of course, I could get there, but
there's
I'm in the middle of
contradictory statements.
They're not contradictory.
And the only ones that came out, yes, there are.
I can explain to you how they're not contradictory.
Saying that it actually happened was in 2016. That doesn't really make sense.
So the statements are not contradictory. So when we hear like one woman say that this never happened to her and another woman said that this did happen to her, those 2 statements are not contradictory. The reason being that the women who said that this never happened to them are not like omnipresent and all-knowing. Okay? We would expect Donald Trump to only do this to some women and girls. We wouldn't expect Donald Trump to do this to every woman and girl at every pageant of every year. So I'd actually argue the fact
that these women are just alone in the back room of a pageant.
So I'm actually still speaking, Joshua. I don't know if you could tell by like the movement of my mouth or the words coming out of my mouth. Well, it wasn't a monologue. In fact, I spoke less for 20 seconds before you interrupted me.
Every single debate we have, you're talking the most, and you always say that you're not.
Okay, well, if you don't like the fact that I am able to effectively dispute what you say with words, okay,
But
feel
you're
free to
not.
leave.
You're just trying to over talk so that I forget about a single point, so then you can pivot and try to like push it back on me. And let's have like a fluid debate. I think that would be
Okay,
good.
Joshua, why are you projecting?
Funny. Anyway,
I mean, let's just
so
clarify here. That was absolutely
well, when there's
it's
multiple
absolutely a projection, Joshua. I mean, we just got done going over how you interrupted me 3 times in less than 30 seconds. And then you had the gut to turn around and say, Dean, why are you over talking me? Clear projection. I do want to get back to the point that I was making there, Joshua. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'd really appreciate it if you just, have the maturity to settle down for a little bit. I understand that you're eager and you're ready to go to start spewing off a bunch of bullshit. And I'll give you the chance to. I want you to talk. That's why I have you on my stream. That's why I run these streams. But we just have to do so in a cohesive manner. I know that's hard for Trump supporters because you guys don't really respect boundaries. Let's just face the facts here, okay? But try your very best, buddy. To get back to the point that I was making, though, very important. So you're right. From some women, we hear that this happened to them. From other women, we hear that this didn't happen to them. These two stories do not contradict one another because we wouldn't expect it to happen to every woman and every girl at every pageant every year. We would only expect it to happen to some women and girls at some pageants in some years, right? Right? Like clearly.
Is that you being done?
Yes.
Okay, so you just made a statement. Was there a question attached to that?
No, it was just a statement to rebuttal your argument.
Okay, well, I mean, then we can't really come to any sort of agreement here if we're just going to rebut each other's arguments, right? Like,
What?
no, seriously, like, what's the main goal here? So my issue is that you're constantly saying that he walked into Miss Teen USA pageants when there's
Yes.
literally no proof.
Oh, yeah, that claim's false.
What claims false? The one that you constantly talk about?
No, your last claim.
That he
there's no
walked
proof
into
he did
Miss
this
Teen
to
USA
teens.
pageants? Because, I mean, if you can agree that that's a false statement, then we can move on.
Oh, well, I'm happy that I could clarify for you, Joshua, because clearly you're having like tracking issues here. What I'm saying is false is your claim that there's no evidence that he did this to teens. The
Well,
evidence
what's the
is
evidence?
abundant. Sure, yeah, his admission of guilt to doing this at the pageants that he owned to Howard Stern and his radio
He
show
never
in
he never
2005.
did that, though.
Okay, so
He
once
never
again,
said
Joshua,
that.
you are interrupting me. Do you want to go ahead and rebuttal my claim once I'm done making the claim?
No, but he never said that. We already
Okay, well,
are on that.
I want you to be able to make that argument as soon as I'm done speaking. I just don't think that you understand how communication works because you probably don't
Becoming
talk to many people when you live in your mom's basement. But it typically would work between two people talking to one another,
Prove it.
allowing each other to speak. That's what it's going to require. Now, Josh, here's the thing, buddy.
Prove
I'm
it.
actually not going to ask you again if you continue to walk down this path of perpetual interruptions. I'm just going to kick you from my stream, find somebody a little bit more serious than you. So if you want to run away from me, okay, feel free to make me kick you by continuing to interrupt me. I understand that you are likely very scared of me, and that's why you want to run away from me. That's why you want to be a runner, as a handful of people are saying in the chat right now. But just try your best to listen. So the evidence that he did this to the teens at Miss Teen USA is, well, A, when he was sitting down on Howard Stern's podcast, he generally admitted to doing this at the pageants that he owns. But furthermore, we know that he did this at the pageants of the adult women and the pageants of the underage minors, because we heard from both the adult women and the underage minors all telling the same story that this happened to them. You then try to combat that line of argumentation by saying, well, Dean, we also heard from maybe like 2 women that this never happened to them. And then I combated that line of argumentation by suggesting, well, that's actually an expectation. We wouldn't expect Donald Trump to sexually exploit every woman and every girl at every pageant every year, because maybe some of them were kicked out of the competition before he'd walk into the dressing rooms. Maybe some of them showed up late on the days that he walked into the dressing rooms. Maybe some of them weren't paying close enough attention. Maybe some of them were already dressed and had left the dressing room. Maybe some of them were in a separate bathroom. Maybe some of them were actively on stage getting judged while the next group of women or girls was getting ready to come out. There's about 1 billion different moving factors here that would make it very impossible for Donald Trump to do this to every woman and girl at every pageant every year. So in fact, I'd argue that if every woman and girl at every pageant every year said this happened to them, it would reduce the likelihood of it being true. But rather the fact that we have some women and girls who will say that they don't remember this happened to them increases the likelihood of it being true, because that's the natural expectation given that it actually is true. Now, if you want to respond to that, the mic and the floor are yours. Something else I will suggest here is that from your position, it seems to be the case that you're arguing that this did happen to the women, but it didn't happen happened to the girls. And that is another fact that makes it even more likely that it happened to the girls, because if he's willing to do this to adults, why wouldn't he be willing to do this to kids? Go for it.
Perfect. Thanks. And notice that you just talked forever, and I'm probably only going to get like 5 seconds. You mentioned Victoria Hughes earlier. Why?
Is that not the name of one of the women that competed at Miss USA that came out and said that this never happened to them? That might be the name of. I always get these names confused.
No, that is correct. Stated that didn't believe in the reports of him barging in on teenage girls were correct. The chaperones would have never allowed it. The story's exaggerated, which is what other. And by the way, it's not just 2 other people. There's more than 11 girls that came out stating that they never saw him in the back of these pageants from 1997, 2009, 2005. 2001. So
okay, I just out of curiosity.
No, hey, I let you talk, right? I let you talk, Dean. So now it's my turn, bud.
Okay, just in the statement with names, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why are you interrupting me? Anyway, I'm sorry. Why are you interrupting me?
Because you just asked me why I'm interrupting you, then I answered your question.
Please stop interrupting me. I'm trying to. You do this all the time too. So there's multiple other women besides 2 that came out and said that this wasn't happening. Now, there is literally no proof besides a couple people that came out in 2016 stating that it was Miss Teen USA after people speculated that it was Miss Teen USA. Donald Trump himself never said anything about Miss Teen USA, and he described the girls that he would barge in on as women, beautiful women in all sorts of undress, correct?
Yeah, he described them as women and girls in the clip.
Thank you for that. So there is zero
proof. He described them as women and girls in the clip. He described sexual conduct with both women and girls.
No, he did not. What sexual conduct?
Like sleeping with him, and then that being a conflict of interest. Before he started talking about barging into the dressing rooms of quote unquote women, he was talking to Howard Stern about how the quote unquote girls would come on to him and then he'd have sex with them.
Okay, and you think those are somehow minors?
Well, I mean,
because
if you want to assume the strict and literal definition of the
tall,
word woman, well, then I mean, it seems to be the case that that's
boobs.
exactly what we would conclude.
It seems like he likes boobs.
So I just want to clarify here, Joshua, that when he says the word woman, when he's talking about the changing rooms, I just want to clarify here, Joshua. So you're arguing that when he says the word woman, okay, as it would relate to the changing rooms, this irrefutably proves that he's strictly talking about adults. But when he says the word girl, this does not irrefutably prove that he's strictly talking about minors. Why is that?
Well, when you use the term girl, especially in that context, when he's sleeping with them, I'm sure that would have come out, don't you think? Yet there has been no allegations that have been credible at all that he was sleeping with minors.
Okay, so you're saying that he was using the word girl non-strictly and likely in reference to women,
yes,
right?
Correct.
Okay, so if he could use the word girl to communicate a direction towards women, why couldn't he use the word woman to communicate a direction towards girls?
Because a woman is an adult human female.
Well, I mean, is it the definition of the word girl under your view, an adolescent human female?
I actually don't think so. I think people use girl pretty like everywhere.
Okay, so you're basically, so once again,
like
you're just going back into the point that I made. And this is exactly what I believe. I agree with you. It is descriptively true, regardless if you like it or not, that many people will use the word girl to communicate a sentiment about a woman. Okay? The same way many people will use the word woman to communicate a sentiment about girls. I mean, we saw Megyn Kelly do this on Fox News, where they're running a poll about the 15-year-old women. Even though 15-year-olds certainly aren't women, they're girls. So that's why I'd say here that we cannot assume the strict and literal definition of the word girl or the word woman, because in this clip, he seems to use them both interchangeably.
Okay. You talk so damn much. It's hard to keep track.
I think a lot of things are likely hard to keep track for you, Joshua.
So it sounds like you actually have no proof besides anecdotal evidence of people that came out in 2016 stating that it was Miss USA.
You're pivoting.
No, this has literally been
what you're pivoting away from. What you're pivoting away from was your position where you attempted to argue that we cannot conclude that he did this to minors because he used the word woman. But then I brought up how less than a minute before in the clip he used the word girl, and then you are now obfuscating away from the fact that it is illogical for you to assume the strict and literal definition of the word woman while not assuming the strict and literal definition of the word girl, while throughout the clip he is using the terms girl and woman interchangeably.
We just talked about that. Was that not
Okay,
over?
so you concede on that point, then, right?
I disagree with you completely.
What do you disagree with?
Well, then you just said you gave an example that wasn't Trump.
No. Be clear. What do you disagree with in what I said?
I'm telling you.
Once again, the
listen,
statement that I'm making here that I want to know why you disagree with it is we cannot assume the strict and literal definition of either the word girl or woman in this clip from Donald Trump because he's using those terms interchangeably.
Please name one other time Donald Trump has used the word woman interchangeably to also include minors.
Wait, wait 1 second. Why would I need to give you another example when this prime example sitting in front of your face from the same fucking clip that you are referencing? You tried to argue that because Donald Trump used the word woman, that we must assume that that term is being used strict and literally indexed to adults. But we hear him use the word girl moments before he uses the word woman, okay? So clearly, Joshua, inside of this clip, he is using the terms woman and girl interchangeably.
No, we can agree that he uses the word girl interchangeably, just like I have a girl dog. My dog's a girl. Does that mean that my dog's a minor child? No. My dog sure as fuck isn't a woman, though.
Okay, yeah, so your dog sure as fuck isn't a woman. Okay, so if a man says that he... So I just want to clarify here. If he says if he did it to women, then he only did it to women. So just to clarify, you accept that he did sexually exploit women, right?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, God, okay. Well, I thought that was your argument the whole time. I thought that you're arguing, sure as hell, Dean, my president sexually exploited women, but he never sexually exploited girls.
Wait a minute, you concede in the fact that he's not using the word woman interchangeably, correct?
I'll concede on the fact that I don't think we know if he's using the word woman to refer to women or girls because he's speaking about it generally. And he used the term girls interchangeably with woman. I cannot sit here and posit that when he said, one moment, Joshua, I'm not done with my sentence. I'm not going to sit here and posit that when he used the word girl, I know he was referring to minors. The same way I'm not going to sit here and posit that when he was using the word woman, I know he was referring to adults. Okay? The reason why I say this happened to both adults and minors is because we heard from the adults and minors and they all told the same consistent story that this happened to them. So when we have an admittance of guilt that is being corroborated by many independent women and girls from different pageants in different years, yet they're all relaying the same experience, which is what Donald Trump admitted to, it is most reasonable to believe that it happened to both the women and girls. But like I said, I do want to clarify what your position is in this argument. Is your position that he did sexually exploit the women at Miss USA, but he didn't sexually exploit the teens at Miss Teen USA?
My position is he didn't sexually exploit anybody.
Wait, so then who is he talking about in the clip?
I'm glad that you conceded. I'm glad
No, Joshua, no, Savan. Then who is he talking about in the clip? In the clip, he said he'd barge into their dressing rooms, he'd look at their naked bodies. This is clearly an example of sexual exploitation because that is a man abusing his position of power over the position of vulnerability of the women, right?
Stop muting me. Hey, sir, you know, I always... Actually, you're not a sir, you're still a child, but... Stop muting me so I can get a word in because
go for it.
Just trying to steamroll to try to make yourself look better when you know you're going to lose.
Go for it, Josh. Go for it,
It
Josh.
looks immature. All right, cool. So, he was in a shock jock conversation with Howard Stern saying that he could just do that. They let him do it because he was the owner. He was announced. Multiple women have said that he was announced to be coming in. Multiple women have said that chaperones wouldn't allow it in Miss Teen USA. My issue here is that you sit up on your platform and you tell people that this
you're pivoting.
is
I'm sorry.
evidence.
I have to cut you off because you're pivoting away from the question in which I asked you. So you just said that the chaperones wouldn't allow it. But I thought the argument about the chaperones would be the chaperones of the minors at Miss Teen USA. The adult women at Miss USA wouldn't have chaperones. So what is your argument against the notion that he did this to the women at Miss USA? That counter argument can't just merely be that it was a shock jock show, because guess what? Being a shock jock is different from being satire. Being a shock jock means that you're admitting to things that aren't necessarily false because it's not necessarily satire, but rather necessarily shocking.
Okay, so again, when I don't know if you want to play this back, you know, when I first came in here, but my issue is that you are telling all of your viewers that this is irrefutable evidence that Donald Trump has barged into Miss Teen USA pageants to look at minors. That is what you tell all of your viewers, and you are incorrect.
Okay,
You
yeah,
are
I don't believe
lying.
that I'm.
You
I
know
don't
you're
believe that I'm
lying.
incorrect. But why are you pivoting?
But you know you're lying.
No, I
And
don't.
you're
I don't think
sitting-
I am lying, and I know that I'm correct. But once again, you're pivoting.
Once again, you have a grin on your face, and you can't even fucking prove it.
The reason why I have a grin on my face is because you're using this to pivot away from the fact that you are now forced into admitting
now
that the
you're
president you
pivoting
support
into
sexually
it just
exploited
being-
women.
No, you're pivoting to make it just women now.
No.
When my
I'm not
original
pivoting at
con-
all.
no,
I'm
my-
asking you to clarify in your position, right? Because it seems to be
I'm
the case that
trying.
you're arguing here that when we listen to Donald Trump say
You're-
that he sexually
you're
exploited
crashing
women,
out.
that he's specifically just referring to women, right? So is that your
Look at
position
how
that Donald
red your
Trump sexually
face is
exploited
right
women?
now getting called out.
Are you going to answer my
Calm the
question or
fuck
not,
down.
Josh?
Calm the
Okay,
fuck
you're going
down,
to tell me to
man.
calm down, but you're not going to answer my question, right?
So I will answer the question like I have
Good boy.
multiple times
Great.
before.
Good boy. Thank you for answering the question. Go ahead.
Okay, good child. Anyway, so
Wait, did you just call an adult man a child?
I don't think you're an adult man.
Wait, so I just want to ensure that you use a word like man and boy interchangeably, so you don't like assume the strict and literal
you
definition of
got
the word
me.
man and boy. Okay, but yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Anyway, so yeah, so during that, he said that he was allowed to basically go in with all areas of undress of women. Yes, I will agree with that.
Okay, so
Do
think
you
that Donald
agree
Trump
that he
sexually
didn't
exploited
say
women?
that about teenage girls?
Well, one second. You're pivoting, dude.
That is literally my fucking point.
I'm sorry, Josh. The one thing that I've been trying to get you to agree to or disagree to this whole time that you've been unwilling to converse about is the fact that these are people that he sexually exploited. Do you agree that it is sexual
I don't agree
exploitation?
they were sexually exploited.
Okay, define the word sexual exploitation.
Exploiting people sexually. I think that if you're allowed to do something, that's not sexual exploitation.
Who is he allowed to do it by?
I mean, nobody complained about anything, so I don't even think it really happened.
Wait, so you think that the absence
I
of a
think
no
he was
means
just
yes?
making a joke.
Wait,
in
so
like
I just want to clarify that you think that the absence of a no means
a
yes?
toilet humor kind of way.
Can you answer my question? So I just want to clarify.
I
You
think
think
if
that
you
the
have
absence of a no
consent,
means yes?
it's not exploitation, sir.
How do you know that he had consent?
Because nobody came out until he was becoming president.
Wait.
And then
So
multiple
I
people
just want to clarify.
multiple
If you're
people-
sexually exploited and you don't automatically
Yeah, you didn't
turn
do it.
around and tell an international media conglomerate that can get that fact in front of the faces of everybody alive, then you were not sexually exploited and you actually consented. So I just want to
I'm
clarify
gonna
here. Are
ask
you
one-
denying the fact that many individuals who are sexually exploited don't turn around and tell other people because of the potentiality of unforeseen consequences, like the negative impact on their career, we got to keep in mind he was their boss, or B, if they are to tell people, doesn't necessarily mean that the people they'll be telling are going to be journalists from, like, once again, international media conglomerates, like the journalists that specifically asked them about it once he started running for president, saying that, oh, they consented to it because they didn't automatically come out on nationwide television is completely bullshit, and you know it, Josh. Not only is it incredibly demeaning to legitimate victims, but it's incredibly just a slap in the face once again to those same victims, because we're sitting here talking about a clip where we hear Donald Trump admitting to abusing his position of power as the owner of the pageant to barge into the woman's dressing room under the guise of doing an inspection to look at them naked. And by the way, we even have evidence from the clip that it was unconsensual, because at the end of the clip he says, so I got away with it. Well, if he had the consent of everybody inside, okay, then he wouldn't be quote unquote getting away with anything because it would have been perfectly fine. And then B, we've heard from many of the women. Some of the women said that this did happen to them. Other women said that this didn't happen to them. But not one woman said that this did happen to them, but they consented to it.
You talked so long, I was able to go get my vape and pee.
Good for you, Josh.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm sorry. Just one more time. Your proof of him walking into Miss Teen USA pageants is that
Pivot.
some women said
Pivot.
he-
Oh my goodness.
he did,
Oh my goodness.
and some
pivot.
women said that he didn't.
So such a pivot. Holy crap.
So who are you supposed to believe here?
Well, actually, we could believe them all because we would expect it to happen to some people while not happening to other people. Once again, indexed to his admission of guilt to Howard Stern. But we
Within
shouldn't
the same
believe.
words, though, I don't get it.
So now, Josh,
When
but what
those
we-
women have
but
seen
Josh,
this happen,
what we
the
shouldn't
ones are
believe,
contradicting the other one's
what
statements.
we shouldn't believe is that he walked into those
Stop
dressing
muting
rooms
me.
then stop interrupting me, with consent. Because there wasn't a single woman that came out and said that he would walk into the dressing rooms with consent. So I'll ask you again, because your argument
Actually,
was it's not
there
sexual exploitation
was
because
a
it was
woman that
with
did.
consent. So then how do you know that they consented to it?
There was several women that stated that he was like somebody was like, "Hey, Donald Trump is coming in to the back room," and so they
Oh.
were able to get ready.
Oh,
before
they were
he
able to
walked
get
into the back
ready.
room.
Okay, well, we know that's not the
I
scenario
feel like
in which
that
we're,
actually makes the most sense.
but that's not what
Why don't
Donald
we
Trump.
believe that statement?
Well, because that's not what Donald Trump was referring to. Because
In a
in the clip
shock jock, toilet
okay, well,
humor
Josh, I'm trying to answer
show,
your question.
Of course,
So we know that's not what Donald Trump is referring to in the
it's going to
quote.
exaggerate it.
Okay, let me know when I can speak.
Well, okay, I will. So I want to know why.
Wait, no, I
women
want to
didn't-
respond to the last point. Don't run away from that last point. So now I'm just going to mute you
I'm
and make sure that I can respond.
doing
So
what
you said
you
once
do, so
again
I'm eating
that
it.
there were some people that came out and they said that they were given a
said
heads
they
up
were eating
before
them.
Donald Trump would walk into the space. So once again, this is another scenario where I do believe in some situations they were given a heads up, yet in other situations they were not given a heads up. And we know specifically that there were scenarios where they were not given a heads up, meaning that they're still undressed. Because in this clip, Donald Trump says that they had no clothes on. Yet clearly, if they were given a heads up, then they would have clothes on.
He said in all states of undress, that doesn't mean naked.
He said that they have no clothes on. But what I'm arguing here, once again, is that if they were
Said
given a
in
heads up, then they would
undress.
have clothes on.
Play the clip.
Okay, so you want to hear him
I
say
know
that
it's
they have no
ready.
clothes
I
on?
know you got a tab open for it. Because
What's
you
on
always
right now?
push this saying that he walked into Miss Teen USA pageants. So play the
Yeah,
clip.
I'll just play the part of the clip where he says that they.
You
didn't have
always
any
say that
clothes on.
he said it was Miss Teen USA too, because you're
Okay,
a liar.
once again, Josh, you're pivoting. So we could talk about that after I roll you
This
the
was
clip
my
where he says
name
that they
and
have no
everything
clothes
else,
on.
and no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking.
Let's go ahead
Keep playing
and
it.
roll
Keep
that back.
playing it. Keep playing
on
it. He caught himself.
0.5
Keep playing
speed.
it. Keep playing
Is
it.
everyone okay?
No, nobody can hear. Nobody can understand that, bro. You got to speed it up a
They
little.
can't understand it when you're speaking over it, Josh. So once again,
Nobody
just
could
stay on
understand that.
mute. I'm just gonna ask you to stay on mute. Okay, just stay on mute, buddy. It's not too hard.
Standing there with no clue.
No clue. Didn't even
Yes.
finish it. And then play the rest of the clip.
All right, wait. So after this point in the clip, he says that they did have clothes on. Okay, let's
Play the rest of the clip.
Sure, let's listen to the rest of the clip. Let's find the part where he says that they did have clothes on.
Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women, and so I sort of get away with things like that.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
then
he
play
did.
a little earlier in the clip. Because I know it's
play,
in there.
Play a little
We
earlier.
both
in the
know
clip.
it's in there.
Now, tell
Well,
me
I'll
what-
tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clue. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Saying of undress.
What's that?
I will consent to the fact that I remember him saying in all states of undress. That could have been a different part of the Howard Stern show because I did watch that whole entire thing. And not in that part. But still, where does that say that was Miss Teen USA, sir?
Okay, so you're gonna be running again. All right, let me explain to you how this works, Josh. When you lose in a debate, what you're supposed to do is acknowledge that you are wrong. What you're not supposed to do is to turn around and to then try to talk about something else. So once again, I'm just gonna quickly
Play the
repeat
beginning
to
of this
you-
because that's what I was
Josh, please don't interrupt me. I'm
the
still
one
in
that
the middle of my
pivoted into
sentence.
this.
Josh, please still don't interrupt me. I'm in the middle of my sentence, dude.
Here, I'll play it back.
I'm in the middle of my sentence, Josh. I'd really appreciate it if you could just hold on. Is that okay? Thank you, Josh. Once again, I'm just going to quickly repeat it. When you lose a debate, what you're supposed to do is concede. Okay? Not try to pivot and run away. Because where we're at in the conversation so far is I asked you, okay, so from your position, you think that he sexually exploited just women and no girls because you were arguing that he didn't do it to the teens yet in the clip. You're hinging that argument on the fact that he said he did it to women. And then in response, Josh, you said no. Then he didn't sexually exploit the women. And then your argument in order to justify that response was that they consented to it or they were given a heads up to get dressed, but clothes on. All right? But like clearly that claim is not true because in this clip, once again, he said that the women had no clothes on. So because they're standing there with no clothes, they weren't given a heads up, meaning that it was absolutely sexual exploitation. Do you get it now, Josh? Go ahead. I sent you an invite to turn your mic on.
You've repeated yourself multiple times. I still don't agree that it was sexual exploitation, and the proof's kind of in the pudding. The only time that anybody came out saying that it could have been sexual exploitation was in 2016. The Howard Stern show was in, 2006? This was a clip. People would have came out if it was actual sexual exploitation, and especially if it was so damning that... like you are saying, apparently this is so damning and it's so much evidence. Why didn't anybody come out in before he started running for president? So I do not agree with the fact that this was sexual exploitation. I also think that he was exaggerating for a shock jock show, because he was in a shock jock show. And my main point when I first came on here, and I can play it back for you, was he never said that it was Miss Teen USA, and the only one here pivoting has been you this whole entire time, because you tell your followers that this is proof that he would walk in on minors, so that he is actually interested in minors, and then you use that and the Epstein files as somehow proof that he is into pedophilia.
Okay.
It's incorrect. You are wrong, and you are pushing everybody here to think this way. Now, I get people in my lives that listen to you that think I'm a pedophile supporter because you're pushing all this bullshit that you know isn't true.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Josh. So it sounds like what you're saying is that even though he said he sexually exploited these people, you don't think he did sexually exploit these people because none of them told a nationwide journalistic body until he started running for president. So what I'd argue here is that this position is very harmful and very damaging to many survivors. There's about 1,000,000,001 reasons why maybe some of these women didn't want to come out and tell a nationwide publicist. The first reason would be is that the nationwide publicist didn't care until it was political. And this is going to be a jab against even democratic institutions of journalism. There's many institutions of journalism on the left and the right that only care if it's something they could use to their own advantage, like trying to win an election. So I would argue that many of the nationwide publicists and journalists prior to Donald Trump announcing his campaign for the presidency in 2015 didn't really give a shit that he'd walk in and look at them while they're naked. They probably didn't think it was newsworthy, if I'm going to be honest. Now, the second reason why we would posit here that it's very likely that they wouldn't come out about this once again to the nationwide journalists is because he held a position of power over them, but more specifically, their career. We got to remember that they were pageant girls at the pageant that he owned. If they were to come out about these experiences, if they were to tell the media, well, then they would be starting a war with the signee of their paychecks. That's not going to be beneficial for them. That's not going to be beneficial for their life. And on top of that, maybe they were indoctrinated into thinking that this was normal, that this was fine. It's actually not that big of a deal, and that they're crazy if they think it's weird or wrong for Donald Trump to walk backstage and to look at them while they're naked. I mean, we heard this from Tasha Dixon, who recounted to the media that they were actually told by the employees of the pageant to kind of fawn over Trump and show him some attention. So in consideration to these speculatory reasons and many others, I don't think that you could say that his admission of guilt isn't enough unless they were to have came out and told mainstream media before 2015. At the end of the day, in a vacuum, anyone's admission of guilt is more than enough. And if any person will sit down in front of a microphone and say on that microphone that they would barge into the dressing rooms of these naked women and then look at their bodies, that you should sure as hell believe that they're guilty of said interaction.
Okay, so that was a lot of words for you just basically saying, hey, I don't think that they thought that it was like that big of a deal then, and they didn't want to come at him because he is in charge of their careers. Was that basically it? Probably. Anyway, so I will rebut that with somebody that's worth billions of dollars and basically, like you think, admits to sexual exploitation live on an air, I feel like that's a pretty easy bankroll right there, don't you think? So I do not agree with the fact that this wouldn't have been something that they would have come up with, especially with all of those years. That's a decade. That's a decade of this information being on the Howard Stern show, and nobody coming up until there was a bunch of negative media about Donald Trump. And then here, I also, because you like to say that I pivot, this is the beginning of our live stream right here.
1 second, Josh. I want to respond to that real quick. You could play the beginning of the live stream here in a minute. I just want to go one topic at a time. So once again, you keep on repeating.
Well, I'd like to wrap it up.
That they didn't come out about this, and I feel like that's another claim that you and many other Trump supporters will make, but it's actually false. Okay, this is the first time they came out about it to a body of journalists that could ensure that story would reach everyone, including you and me. We don't know. We have no clue. They very well could have told the story to every single person in their life.
That would have come out by now.
And no one cared or listened. You know, that is completely plausible.
That would have come out by now.
You don't know that.
I would have said something about that.
You don't fucking know that. The people that come out about sexual violence, 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 the people that come out, the people that come out about sexual violence against the people that come out about sexual violence directed after Trump have had their careers ruined, have been turned into monoliths of the left. I mean, like, for instance, even in the BuzzFeed story, the first round of interviews that they did with the girls at Miss Teen USA, when Donald Trump started running for president in 2015, 3 of the 4 teens requested to have their identities concealed. And then the BuzzFeed also said that they had reached out to a total of like 25 different girls, and all but 4 of them said that they weren't interested in giving an interview whatsoever. So clearly it's the fucking case that you cannot posit just because this isn't a story that we learned until 2015, that it wasn't a story that they were telling to their friends and family before 2015, Josh. And not to mention, by the way, that when we're justifying the claim that Donald Trump sexually exploited...
So you have no proof. That's what I'm hearing. There's zero proof. Thank you.
Yes, what I'm positing is that there's zero proof for your positive claim that they did not come out about it prior to 2015.
No proof. Awesome.
So you admit that you were wrong then, because you can't justifiably hold to a claim unless you have proof.
There's zero proof.
Exactly, zero proof that they did or didn't come out about it prior to the 2015 election. Therefore, when you claim that they didn't come out about it prior to the 2015 election, you are making said claim without evidence.
There's no proof. You're making the claim.
Which is you're making the claim that they didn't come out about this prior to 2015. That's the claim that we have proof for. The claim that we don't have proof for, you're equivocating. Josh, you're being intentionally bad faith and equivocating. We do have proof that he did this to them, but we don't have proof that they did or did not come out about this prior to 2015.
You lost.
I didn't lose. I didn't lose. You just don't know how to track conversation. The only person who got cooked here is you, Josh. Once again, the way that you got cooked, Josh, is because you posited that they did not come out about this prior to 2015. We do not know if they did or did not come out about this prior to 2015.
I have talked 10% of the time, if that. Okay,
well, then stop interrupting me. Maybe you'll have a little bit of an easier chance to speak.
You lost the argument. You know you have zero proof.
Just because you say that I lost doesn't mean that I lost, Josh. You're whining, you're coping, you're seething, you're crying. At the end of the day, crash out all you want. It doesn't change the fact that Donald Trump sexually exploited these beauty pageant contestants.
Oh my guy.
Crash out, Joshua. You can't. The only one crashing out is you. The fact that you can't even respond to the substance of my counter rebuttals against your position, and all you could do is get angry and repeat that I lost, is what proves I won.
It's sad. You act like an immature kid, man.
This is what proves I won. By the way, this attitude right here. You will not. You will not give cohesive responses. You will not give cohesive responses to my arguments. You're just gonna crash out and say that I lost and that you won. That proves that I won. By the way.
Dude, you muting me is absolutely insane, and then going on like 5-minute tangents.
Scratching out that I
You're
muted
in
him
a
after interrupting
circular
me.
argument right now, and it's very, very, very embarrassing.
The only thing that's
Um,
embarrassing her once again is you. Once again,
there's-
Josh, that's the
so
only
you-
thing that you could do. This proves that you lost because you cannot you cannot respond to the rebuttals I gave to your claims. All you could do is say that you won. All that you could
Bro.
do is say that I'm emotional. All that you could do is say that I lost.
Your
But you
rebuttal was
can't
you-
actually respond to the
You
rebuttals
just
that
said
I'm
you didn't
giving
have
to you against
proof.
your positions. Oh my God,
You said
Josh.
that these people might.
Okay, you just repeated that I said I don't have proof.
Said-
Give me
Stop.
30 seconds to speak so I can clear up this point of miscommunication because you can't track
10
linear
more than
dialogue.
30 seconds.
No. Give me 30 seconds so I could clear up this point of miscommunication because you can't track linear dialogue. You continue to repeat that I said I don't have proof. That's not true at all. What I said is that neither of us have proof that they did or did not come out about these experiences before 2015, which in turn would mean that you have no good reason to believe that they didn't come out about it prior to 2015 when you were positing the affirmative claim that they didn't come out about it prior to 2015. And once again, you are attempting to equivocate here and change the fact that I'm telling you that neither of us have proof that they did or didn't come out about this prior to 2015 into meaning that therefore we don't have proof that Donald Trump didn't do this to him. But that's not true. We do have proof that Donald Trump did this to him. The proof is that he admitted to it. Like insanity that like you're overlooking this point and that you're like treating it with such a low level of credence. We have a man who admitted to barging into the dressing rooms
You're
of
way
women at the
past
beauty
30
pageants that he
seconds.
owned. And that's the proof that he
Jesus
did it.
Christ,
And
man,
stop
stop
equivocating
talking.
between the fact that there is proof that he did it to the women and the secondary claim that there's no proof that they did or did not come
Stop
out about it
talking.
prior to 2015, which would prove your claim to be false surrounding the claim that you made that they didn't come out about it prior to 2015.
Okay, and again, you use a bunch of words that just meant, hey, Josh, you can't prove that they didn't come out before 2015,
Yes.
and I can't prove that they did come out before 2015.
But
and my rebuttal.
my argument doesn't hinge on them coming
I
out
mean,
about it
fuck-
prior to 2015. Your argument does hinge on
You
them
have
not
serious
coming out
issues.
about it prior to 2015.
Dude, I have no idea what is wrong with you, but just when you keep muting people and trying to steamroll again, it doesn't make you look good. It doesn't make you look like you're winning.
Okay, you lost
Now-
a debate. I get it. No, it's okay. You could cry.
So,
You lost.
no,
I get
let
it.
me
People cry when they lose.
let me give you a rebuttal, and then you can kick me. I'm actually surprised you even let me up again. We've talked so many damn times. But now, the most investigated man in the world, in the history of the world, you don't think it would have come out that some of these people have talked prior to this, especially since, and I will state again, especially since there's such damning evidence, according to you, that he did these things and it's on recording. Why hasn't there been a single statement before he was running for president and anything coming out of the woodworks about them coming out prior?
Because that's the first time that they were asked about it by a journalistic body that could relay that statement to you and me.
Okay, so I find that incredibly hard to believe.
What? Why? That's when he was
Again,
running for president.
billionaire
That's when he got on
on
the
the Howard
radar.
Stern show.
One moment. That's when he got on the radar of like the journalistic
Ridiculous.
bodies that would be able to publish the story to every American. Okay? Like by the way,
Look,
I just
man,
want to repeat
no.
that evidence that he did this to the women did come out prior to 2015. The evidence that he did this to the women that did come out prior to
evidence?
2015 was him admitting to it in 2005.
Okay, so that's the evidence that you have.
Yes, him
Is
admitting
him
to
a
it.
shock jock? Okay.
Yes.
So you know what? Look, this is all I want you and your supporters to hear, but from your mouth. In 2005, on the Howard Stern show, Donald Trump did not say that it was Miss Teen USA. I want you to say
you
that.
keep on running away. You continue to equivocate. Remember, Josh, what we're debating
actually,
is if he did or did not do this to
on a
women.
tangent for, like-
because the totality of
Yeah,
your claim
3 minutes.
that he
Keep
didn't
going.
do this to the people at Miss Teen USA hinges on it being true
I'll be
that
right
at
back.
the minimum he did sexually exploit the women. I want you to refute the claim that he sexually exploited the women at Miss USA. Because you told us all that you do not believe that he sexually exploited the women at Miss USA, even though he said that he abused his position of power as the owner of the pageant to allow himself to barge into the private women's only spaces backstage where they were quote unquote standing there getting dressed with no clothes on, where he would then look at them and then he would talk about how he would get away with it. This is clearly sexual exploitation due to the fact that he's abusing their position of vulnerability by taking advantage of his position of power to further unconsensual sexual conduct. All right, and what I want to hear from you is why this is not clearly sexual exploitation. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Wow, that took a while. Just give me 1 second.
He has to go to ChatGPT, everyone. Just give him a moment. While he's doing that, I could actually thank a handful of people. Oh my goodness. Dude. What the fuck? Kittles, thank you so much for the $200 over on YouTube Super Chat. I want to see 2,000 Kittles W's in both of the live stream comment sections. Thank you so very much for the love, Kittles. That is Kittles. That is so fucking kind of you. That is like legitimately outrageous. I'm so very grateful for you, Kittles. Show some massive, massive, massive love to the goat Kittles down below. Kittles with the $200. I'm so grateful for your love. I don't deserve that. Kittles says, Dean, have you ever considered switching to a Herman Miller mesh chair with neck support for day-to-day work? I started my career in a chair like yours. It was swamp butt central and my neck was wrecked all of the time. And then Kittles goes on to say, because they sent it in 2 different donations, you're also kicking ass as per usual. Any chance you'd be open to giving us each a stream of around an hour or so to chat with us liberal snowflakes? Well, to respond to your first question about the Herman Miller chairs, I have considered like a Herman Miller chair, but the only thing is that they're very, very expensive. And I haven't like really found myself in a position where I want to invest, like a couple $1,000s into a chair. But I've heard great things about them. And then secondarily, Kittles, that's been something that we've been planning on doing for a while, finding a way to kind of just have a moment for a Q&A to talk to, the liberal snowflakes of the world. But on a real note, Kittles, thank you so very much for the love. That is beyond fucking kind of you. Same thing to Anthony. Thank you so much for the $100 on Super Chat as well. Show some love to Kittles and Anthony down below. You guys are so fucking kind. Thank you so much, you two. Anthony with 100 says, you got to give it to Trump. He has great scouting, identified a dumbass part of the population that would fall for anything he says. Unfortunately, due to mostly racism, truly disappointing being privileged as a vet. I have friends from all walks of life. Your discretion. Thank you so much for the $100, Anthony. I know, yeah, you do got to give it to him. He was able to convince millions of people that whatever he says is like nearly the fucking word of God, unless it's him admitting to sexual violence, and I guess we shouldn't believe him then. But everything else, it's the word of God. And then you actually sent another $50. Thank you so much for another $50, Anthony. With the $50 donation, Anthony says, Dean, glad you're back home. And back on, this guy's gonna split hairs and pivot all day. Blame the shock jock. No, that's what Trump said. He barged in between me and you, Cali lifestyle. Put something on your mind, huh? Keep doing UG. Thank you so much for the love, Anthony. Anthony, you sent that a while ago, and fun fact, you actually predicted exactly what he would do. He's absolutely splitting hairs, and he did bring up the fact that he's a quote-unquote shock jock. And California was nice. I love it out there. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. I'd also like to quickly thank Nike. Thank you for the 20 Canadian dollars on Super Chat, who says, so I donate often here. I want to say that what my job is, I'm a web dev. The app that I work on is called TrackKit Research It, Dean. This is why people downplay SA or sexual exploitation pisses me off so much. I'll take a look into it, Nike. Thank you so much for the 20 Canadian dollars. And as always, it's really good to see you. Let's get 200 Nike W's in that chat. Let's get another 250 Key W's down below in that chat. Thank you for the $25 as well. Key with the $25 says Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby both got away with it for over a quarter of a century. P. Diddy and R. Kelly both got away with it for over 10 years. Literally, if you were rich, powerful, and famous, you could get away with it. And that is exactly what happened here. And then this one just came in as well. Kittles, thank you so much for another $100 on Super Chat. Holy moly, Kittles, you are awesome. Let's get another 1,000 Kittle W's down below.
Oh, shit. Holy crap, I'm still
Kittles
here.
with another $100, says Dean. I'm definitely not trying to impede on you or how you work. Your debates are actually fucking brilliant. That said, if the goal is to change minds, I wonder whether it would help to test the caller's ability to go past the surface level. Thank you so much for the love, Kittles. You know, that's something that I've considered is maybe like screening callers for like signs of open-mindedness, and maybe it like isn't super advantageous to like talk to people like Joshua that will just deny a claim to be true even when Donald Trump admits to it, if that makes any sense. Thank you for another $100, Kittles. And then Kathy, thank you for the $38 donation on PayPal. Let's get 400 Kathy W's. Kathy says, why do the MAGA creeps want you to prove everything and they can never prove one damn lie they keep spouting? Love you, Dean. From Kathy. Well, shout out to you, Kathy. Thank you for the 40. And that's something that we see all the time. You know, they'll justify their claims with memes off of Telegram and their mom's Facebook account. But then they expect me to be able to provide more evidence that Donald Trump sexually exploited these women and girls beyond the fact that he admitted to it, right? Thank you for the $40. Same thing to you, Marco. Thank you so much for the $34 donation on PayPal. Let's get 300. Marco W's down below. In the chat. Marco with a $34 donation says, happy 1 year anniversary, blast from the past, showing the episode from the garage era. I know, man, that was quite the era. Thank you so much for the love, Marco. And I appreciate you for the $34 in celebration of the 1 year anniversary of the Dean Withers Show. Maisha, thank you for the $14, who says gas prices have been absolutely ridiculous here in Canada. Fuck Trump and his wars. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Donald Trump is literally impacting everybody's gas prices, even in other countries. Best of luck to you, Maisha. Yeah, and we hate that guy. Renee, thank you so much for the $24 donation on PayPal. Thank you guys so much for the love. Who says, happy 1 year. Thank you so much. I have a lot of time while I work, and your videos have increasingly become my favorite part of the workday. Thank you for all that you do and keep educating. Well, thank you so much for the support, Renee. I'm happy that we're able to keep you engaged on the job. Fuck yes. Show some love to Renee. And then Susan, thank you so much for the $45 donation saying happy 1 year anniversary of the show. Thank you, Susan. Holy fuck, you guys are being so kind. Let's show some massive love to Susan down below. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Then Oliver, thank you for the $14 over on PayPal. I appreciate you so very much for the love. Who says, I just wanted to say that you are great, and also this is me coming out publicly as a gay trans man. Well, Oliver, thank you so much for the $14, and I wish you the very best of luck in life. And I can't even imagine how hard it is to be a gay trans man today under Donald Trump in America. Thank you for the $14. And one more for now, Miss Crystal. Thank you so much for the $100 donation on PayPal. Fucking hell, Crystal. Let's get 1,000 Crystal W's. Crystal with the $100 says, keep up the good work. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for supporting me, the show, and what we got going on here. Let's get 1,000 Crystal W's down below, as I said. And I'm so very grateful for you. Thank you for your generosity and the love. Not a bone in my body deserves it. You guys are being so fucking kind today. Thank you so much. As well as Holly, thank you for the $30. Let's get 300 Holly W's. Holly says, is a 43-year-old woman who's taken advantage of by a minor celebrity when I was a teen. I will say the times I tried to come out about it, their fans called me a groupie and didn't care, so I shut the fuck up about it. I can only imagine MAGA people's reactions and the threats that you'd get. Exactly, Holly. There's so many different reasons why so many different victims would be disincentivized from coming out publicly, and then people like Josh will actually use that silence caused by rape culture to just justify the fact that the admitted sexual exploiter didn't do the sexual exploiting. It's very gross and violent. Kai, thank you so much for the $24 as well on PayPal. Show some love to Kai. Show some love to Kai. Really appreciate you so much. Yeah, it is the same guy, Kai. Thank you for the $24. Then Joe, thank you so much for the $10 on PayPal. I hope that the live today is able to help you survive that 23-hour car ride. Jesus Christ, it's a long car ride. And then Lee, thank you for the $5 as well. We are all caught up for now on Super Chat and PayPal. A couple people to thank on Venmo, but I'm just going to do that here in a moment. Joshua, do you want to try to give a counter argument to the substance I provided surrounding the claim that Donald Trump did sexually exploit the women at Miss USA?
Is it the same claim that we've been on about for like 30 minutes now?
Yeah, that you've continued to give counter arguments to, that I've been continually like shooting down.
To repeat yourself? Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, I'd only be repeating myself in my counter arguments if you were.
I feel like this is becoming extremely circular. I would like to mention. I think you said that we believe in all of them. And then earlier, I think you said that just because 2 women came out saying that they didn't. Very interesting, because when you're talking about Miss Teen USA, the 1997 Teen USA contestants, BuzzFeed reported 15 women that they interviewed, 11 of them came out saying that they didn't recall seeing Donald Trump inside of the dressing room. So it's actually an 11-to-4 ratio of 4 women saying that he did and 11 women saying that he didn't. I was wondering, don't you think that might have been politically motivated? And that has been my whole entire thing this whole entire time, is that it was politically motivated, as you know. And I think you agree
so Donald
probably
Trump made
that
Donald
it's
Trump
politically
admit to
motivated.
it? So was it politically motivated when he admitted to sexual exploitation, Howard Stern?
So again, I don't think that is sexual exploitation. I think he
Why?
was
He said that he unjustly took
over-exaggerating.
advantage of it.
Victoria Hughes said that he never did it. Crystal Hughes
Wait, so I
said
just want to
that he never
clarify.
did it. Jessica
If we take Donald Trump,
Granate said that he never
if we
did
take
it.
Donald Trump
Christy
for
Conaway
for
said
service
that he never
value,
did it.
Wait,
Harry
Joshua,
Pershing,
if we take Donald Trump for the value,
all these
on the
women said he
surface of
didn't
what
even do it.
Okay, so if we took Donald Trump for for the value of the words that he said on Howard Stern's radio show, are you arguing here that it does seem to be the case that he did admit to sexual exploitation, but you just don't think that he was necessarily being truthful?
I would say again, his statement doesn't sound like sexual exploitation. I do
so you're
also
arguing
agree
that
that
if
he
we
was probably
accept
not
every
truthful.
word that he said as being true, it wouldn't be sexual exploitation.
Yeah, I just said that I also don't think that he was being truthful. I
Okay,
think
but
he
if we were to accept every word as what he said being true, would it be sexual exploitation?
walking into dressing rooms that he knew, it sounds like all of them knew that he was coming in. No, that's not sexual exploitation.
Okay. Why does it sound like they all knew that he was coming in? Why do you believe that?
Literally, I've seen several reports where they got heads up about it.
Okay. Well, once again, this just would go back into the conversation that we're having earlier. I do believe that in some circumstances there would be heads up so they could get, their clothes on and whatnot. But just in other circumstances, there wasn't that heads up. And the reason I believe that there's some
What's your proof of
circumstances... Good question. My proof that there's some circumstances where there wasn't a heads up is because in this clip, Donald Trump says that when he'd go back there, they'd have no clothes on. So he seems to be referring to a scenario where there was no advance.
Have you ever met models?
Can you please allow me to finish speaking?
Some models don't care if you see them naked, my guy.
Oh, okay. So your claim is that he gave them the heads up and then they just stayed naked.
Most likely, yeah.
Okay. And what's the evidence for that claim?
What's the evidence for your claim that they haven't gotten a heads up?
Sure. The evidence for my claim that they didn't get a heads up is at the beginning of the clip.
Models
Donald
in
Trump,
general.
wait, one second.
Models
You asked me a question.
definitely.
The evidence for the claim that they didn't get a heads up would be at the beginning of the clip. He says that he'd barge in there under the guise of doing an inspection, allowed by himself, not allowed by the women. But clearly here, if they were given a heads up,
therefore I was inspecting it.
Okay,
Yes,
so
you don't have to repeat yourself. We're both on the same page here.
But
We're
this is
at
just
a
the evidence that there was no heads up.
We're at a consensual disagreement here.
No, we're not, because I've clearly refuted your view here. I've proven it to be false, and then you just interrupt me while I'm proving it to be false. Once again, the evidence that there was no heads up given here is the fact that they were naked. You then responded to that by saying, "Oh well, they're models. They don't care if they're naked." Okay. Well, first and foremost, these were beauty. This was a beauty pageant where people would go on stage with clothes on, and if they didn't care that they're naked, well, then this probably wouldn't be a private woman's only space where there's no men around. So, due to the fact that these women were inside a private woman's only space with no men around, okay, and Donald Trump made sure to point that out, we know that they clearly did care if men saw them naked, or else they wouldn't be in a designated space just for them to get naked without men being able to see them.
Okay, I'm not even going to go off of, because I know that you think males can be women, so I'm not even going to try with that one right now. But anyway, yes, generally females changing rooms are for women who are females. I agree with you. But yes, he said he's the pageant owner. He's allowed to go back there. Now, yes, models, I would assume that some models wouldn't care if Donald Trump saw them naked, man. I don't think that's, I think it's pretty obvious that they probably, a lot
Then why
wouldn't
are they
care.
in a space
Especially if they never
designed
came out.
privately for just women to get naked?
What other men would be back there?
Answer the question. If they just didn't care, then why would they be in a space designed just for women to get naked?
They're not just going to undress in the middle of a fucking hallway.
Oh, because they care about other people seeing them naked, right?
Because there's a spot to be naked at. And then
Right, and the reason why there's a spot to be naked at that is designed just for women is because they wouldn't feel comfortable taking their clothes off around men.
Stop muting me.
This is like literally like second grade knowledge here. Like this is just like so clearly the case. The reason why women have a private space just for women to take their clothes off is because they don't want men to see them. This is common fucking sense.
Okay, sure, it's common fucking sense. Can you actually have like a back and forth with me without you literally trying to steamroll every single goddamn second?
Someone's mad because they're losing the debate. Isn't that right, Josh?
It's not losing when I can't get a fucking word in.
Okay, feel free to get a word in. Feel free to get a fucking word in response to the clearly like commonsensical like, truth that the women inside. So you're bowing out.
No, I'm not bowing out.
Okay, so then give a response to the argument.
It's completely circular. It's completely circular.
So you're bowing out.
We literally.
So I just want to clarify. Are you bowing out, Josh?
No, hey, I'm sorry.
I just need to know, Josh. Are you bowing out, or are you going to give a counter argument to the claim I suggested?
Hey, come to my live. So
you're bowing out.
Must get muted.
So
no,
you're bowing
seriously,
out.
You should come to my live.
So you're bowing out. Okay, so Josh, you want to leave now? You're bowing out, right?
This is disingenuous.
Someone's getting really mad. Yeah, he's gonna start throwing around big words like disingenuous to run away.
Because you are being disingenuous.
So just to clarify, Josh, are you bowing out? Or are you going to counter argument to the claim in which I provided?
Sure. Hey, look, I think the only one trying to bow out is you. I think.
Okay. Then the projection comes. I get it. Then the projection comes. Yes, the guy that is asking you to respond to his argument is clearly bowing out, Josh. So true.
You mute.
Well, I'm just going to continue to mute you unless you're going to either tell me that you're bowing out or you're going to give a counter argument. I am going to mute you when you're just crashing out like a petulant man-child because I'm not going to let you cortisol max me. So go ahead, Josh. Either tell me that you're bowing out or give a cohesive counter argument to the claim in which I suggested.
I have. Okay, do you remember
No, you haven't. What was your cohesive counter-argument to the fact that clearly the woman would care about Donald... No. What is your cohesive counter-argument to the fact that clearly the woman would care about men seeing them naked, or else they wouldn't be naked in a space where men couldn't go in?
I'm going to be straight up honest with you, dude. You keep muting me, I'm not going to listen to a word you say. Okay?
I know. Yeah, put the fingers in the ears, go la 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 like a little baby so you don't have to give a
like I said, on one of your tangents, I literally went and got my vape, which we just saw your vape, by the way. You didn't conceal that well. And I peed, and it came back, and you were still talking.
So what's the counter response to the claim that clearly these women would care about men seeing them naked, or else they wouldn't be getting naked in a space where men couldn't go in?
The fact that all of the 11 of the 15 girls that were interviewed stated that A, they either never saw him. Okay, wait, this was Miss Teen USA, so they didn't ever see him. With Miss California, with Miss USA, only one stated that. Actually, wait a minute. Let me find it. I just had it up. Confirmed Trump came into this is Christy Conaway, confirmed Trump came into the dressing room to say hello, but said she and most others were dressed, noting she felt it was to wish them luck. We actually have no girls from this exact pageant that stated that they had any issue with him being in there. So that would be my proof that they didn't have a problem with him seeing what was going on back there.
Okay, so the inverse of that would be is that if they did have a problem with him being back there, then it would be
for the people saying source. Right? That's PolitiFact.
Wait, so I just want to clarify that you would agree here that if they did have a problem with him being back there, then it would be sexual exploitation.
If they did have a problem with it, yeah, 100%.
Okay, all right. So now you have to concede that it was sexual exploitation because Tasha Dixon sure as hell had a problem with it.
Parents of children who play Roblox.
Let's go to take a listen.
If your child was sexually exploited...
He just came strolling right in. There was no second to put a robe on or any sort of clothing.